Hello everyone, welcome to a short interruption of our regular scheduled Pat McGrath Labs content. I did something rather unusual and I bought an eyeshadow palette from a brand that is not Pat McGrath Labs, nor is it Natasha Denona. As you've already seen from the thumbnail of this video, it's not a secret at all, I purchased the Holiday Collection eyeshadow palette from NARS. This is their Climax palette, and honestly up until a few weeks ago I didn't even know of the existence of this palette. I would never have even thought about it, and then one of you brought it up, one of my friends here on YouTube, Emily, you brought it up and you mentioned how much you liked the color story and that you were quite intrigued by it and you were considering purchasing it. And at the time I thought, oh cool, that's, super nice for you, I'm very curious what you will think about it. And I was watching a video from Charlotte Holdcroft last week where she was demoing this palette. She was talking about how beautiful the metallics, especially in this eyeshadow palette, are, because they give you this beautiful wet effect on the lid, and as she was demoing it I sort of fell in love with it and I made the radical and rather impulsive decision to purchase it and try it out for myself. NARS is not really a brand that is very represented in my collection. I have had their Laguna bronzer and the Orgasm blush over the course of the years. They just weren't anything I deemed worth keeping. And I have 4 of their Audacious lipsticks, which I actually really like. And I realized that I have another holiday collection from them, which is this beautiful, again, red, because it was a holiday collection release a few years ago. It is a trio of some of their highlighters, and they are actually a really beautiful formula. I'm wearing the one in the middle today. I think that's also the one that's the most hyped up one. That's the shade Fort de France. And they have a very smooth formula to them, so for people who have more texture on their skin, I think the NARS highlighter formula will look really beautiful on you. I ordered my palette from NARS Belgium, the Belgian website of NARS caters to Belgium, obviously the Netherlands, and I want to say Luxembourg. Because I was trying to find ways to purchase it, and honestly on a lot of places like Cult Beauty it was sold out, and then the EU website said it wasn't shipping to the Netherlands, so it took quite some figuring out to even find where exactly I can buy, like from the NARS website in the Netherlands. Apparently there is a specific website for us here in the Netherlands, which was really awesome. I paid 50 euros for the palette. It was delivered within a few days, so the service was also very quick. Super nice. It came with this beautiful red cardboard box, and then the actual packaging is quite beautiful. It's this textured, sort of like relieved outside box, and I feel like the outside box is like meant to imitate metal maybe, but it is just plastic, and it has the NARS logo across it. Quite beautiful and quite festive, and the actual color story is in fact quite beautiful, and when you see the colors live, they do in fact look rather gorgeous. I'm going to swatch now all of them for you. So you have 4 mattes, 1 shimmer, and 5 of those more like metallic and reflective shades. So I'm just going to swatch them row by row like this. So let's start with the 2 mattes. There is a light beige and more of like a mauvey brown, and next to that there is a neutral metallic shade. So these are the first 3 shades. These 2 I can already tell you feel super redundant to me. I don't understand why it would have been necessary to have both, but they are both quite creamy feeling, quite pigmented. And this is the Champagne Metallic. So far everything swatches really beautifully. I'm actually surprised that they swatch a little bit deeper than they look in the pan, which is nice because this makes these 2 shades a little bit more distinctive than I anticipated. Let's move on to the second row, which is actually the most exciting one because it contains this gorgeous green eyeshadow, which is probably about 80% of the reason I bought this eyeshadow palette. So we have this peachy metallic shade, the olive green, and there is this more satin neutral brown. And the last row contains the deepest mattes, which are a corresponding deep olive green, a very deep like burgundy brown, like very red toned brown, and this gorgeous smoky blue foiled metallic shade. So there you have it. I've never tried NARS eyeshadows before, not even once in my life before, so I'm actually quite intrigued. The first eyeshadow that I'm going to use is this beige neutral over here, just to blend through my crease on a fluffy brush. This is diffusing quite smoothly, so you know, this first eyeshadow performs really well, but it's the type of eyeshadow that you really don't expect to have any issues with. Secondly, and quite predictably, I'm going to take the matte olive green shade and apply that into my outer corner right here. And wow, this is applying actually really nicely. It's applying exactly as it looks in the pan. I felt like when I swatched it, it applied lighter and more yellow toned, but I'm able to pack it onto the lid very beautifully, and I'm very curious what it's going to do when I start blending it. It's a really beautiful eyeshadow, this color. Let's take the big blender again and see what happens when I blend this eyeshadow out a little bit. I'm quite pleasantly surprised by this olive green matte shade. It's applying really beautifully, and it's not patchy, it's very soft, it's blending out very nicely. So far so good, NARS. And of course the next thing we're going to do is apply a little bit of glitter glue. I'm going to take epoxy from Firini and apply the tiniest bit of that on my lid and inner corners. And now, using my finger, I'm going to take the beautiful olive green shade and I'm going to apply that on my lid. And I'm very curious particularly about this shade because that is also the shade that Charlotte used on her lid, and it was just so beautiful and reflective in her video. This is a very beautiful shade. Only for this shade I'm very happy to have the palette. Honestly, if this is the standard by which we're judging this palette, I'm sure the rest of the shades are going to be really pretty as well. I'm going to now take this champagne foiled metallic shade and apply that into the inner third and corner of the lid. Also very beautiful. In terms of their texture, these eyeshadows feel very dense. So if you are wondering how they compare to, I don't know, say metallics from Pat McGrath, Pat McGrath's metallics are dense, but these feel even denser. They're very dense. I don't really know how else to describe it. Very thick in their nature. On my lower lash line, I'm going to dip back into the matte olive first and apply that right here into the very outer corner of the eye. Very lightly right here. And if I were to finish off this look to make it a bit more homogeneous and cohesive, I would have probably just applied the green foiled metallic also on the lower lash line, but I can't really help myself and I really want to try the blue shade, so I'm going to apply that on my lower lash line just using a tiny brush like this, and I'm going to try to apply it as close to the lashes as possible. Take it a little bit over top of that olive green matte. I'm just lightly going to blend. So I don't know what you guys think about this look. I am pretty in love with it, and I am crushing on this little 9 eyeshadow pan from NARS pretty hard right now. You can't really see it on my face because, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going through something in my personal life and I will need a minute to look very cheerful again. But trust me when I say it, I really enjoy this eyeshadow palette. I have absolutely no regrets about purchasing it. I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. I can't wait to try a more neutral look with it because I think it would look really bomb. It would look stunning to do like a neutral look and use this shade to wing a liner with it. So many possibilities. If you were looking for the perfect grunge fall eyeshadow palette, look no further than the NARS Climax palette. This is just right in the bullseye. Yeah, very surprising. I'm quite shocked to be enjoying a NARS eyeshadow palette so much. With that said, I'm not sure that this is the usual quality of NARS eyeshadow palettes. Maybe this is something new in terms of their formula. I'm not sure. I can't tell because, like I said, I've never used NARS eyeshadows before, but if this is what they're doing, I will be far more interested in the future to try their eyeshadows. Definitely let me know if you would be interested in watching more content with this eyeshadow palette. I would be more than happy to come back on camera and do more looks with it. If you have this eyeshadow palette, let me know what you think about it. And that is pretty much all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!